This is the workstation we'll be using for the second part of the Elasticity lab. At each station you'll find a torque wheel with steel ribbon attached, 2 lucite rods, one of which is hollow, the other is solid, a pair of digital calipers, a meter stick, a pair of large steel calipers, a mass hanger, and of course masses. First we'll begin by taking measurements of the torque wheel and the lucite rods. You'll need to measure the radius of the torque wheel. To measure the radius, take the large calipers shown here and open them up. Clamp them around the center of the wheel as shown, then you can slide them off and place them alongside the meter stick to get a measurement. To measure the radius of the solid rod and the inner and outer radius of the hollow rod, you'll use the digital calipers. The digital calipers here have an on-off button, a millimeter/inches button, make sure this is set to millimeters, and the zero tare function, which sets the closed position to read 0 if it doesn't already. The large forceps on the calipers are meant for measuring the outside of things, for example the solid rod and the outside of the hollow rod. The top, smaller forceps are for measuring the inside of things, like the inside of the hollow rod. Remember, you just measured the diameter of these objects, and in order to get the radius, you must have these values. Now choose a rod and place it in the apparatus. You may have to use some tricky angles or move the small support to get it in. Once you have one end of the rod fastened in the supports, you should fasten the torque wheel side with the tilt box sensor approximately level with the ground for easy reading. Use the meter stick to measure the length of the rod that is capable of twisting. That will be the exposed part of the lucite rod. We can now turn on the tilt box sensor using the on-off button. The other two buttons we don't need to use, but the 0/tare button will put the reading to 0, which can make for nicer numbers. Once the tilt box is on, record the reading on the display as the 0 mass reading. You will then begin to add masses in 100 gram increments and record the twist angle reading. The first 100 grams will be the hanger and a 50 gram mass hung onto the metal ribbon. Once you have recorded the twist angle in your lab manual for the masses 0 to 400 grams and then 0 again, do the same procedure for the second rod. But while changing out the rods, please have someone hold the torque wheel when unscrewing the fasteners. If you'll notice, when I don't hold the torque wheel, the tilt box sensor falls and it can make a loud noise and be hard on the equipment. The purpose of exercise 2 is to determine the shear modulus of lucite from the slope of the graphs and learn to compare between different shear moduli.